getting serious, folks. 10 days away from Notre Dame invading Hard Rock Stadium. We'll talk Canes, we'll talk Irish, we'll talk whatever you want in the realm of Miami football, of course, here at the Voice of College Football, typically Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. You can blame me for this schedule adjustment, but we are happy to have you here on a Thursday afternoon. Cam Underwood, of course, right next to me, makes it all go for a 440th time. State of the U is your destination on a daily basis. And again, we're here weekly with you on the Voice of College Football. Cam, how you doing?
Doing well. Good to see you guys. Another afternoon kind of lunchtime show, so you guys can just enjoy that. Usually I tweet out when we switch things up. I forgot to do that because I was out last night with a friend of mine. But yeah, a fellow Miami alum, my buddy Joe. So I got to see him. My birthday was on Sunday. His birthday is this upcoming Friday, so 5 days apart. So we usually split the difference and do birthday drinks and whatnot. So yeah, we got to catch up. And so you are caught up, and we are getting caught up here together as we push towards the season opener.
I believe the date is August 21st currently. They went to camp, I believe, on August 1st or thereabouts.
Mm-hmm.
Has anything transpired over the course of 3 weeks to make you feel any differently about this football team?
No. It's really just, learning the new faces and names and jersey numbers, because every year players change their jerseys. But I've been very high on this team. I was very high on this team last year, and I maintain that viewpoint. There's talent everywhere that you need it. There's great coaching. I know that there are issues that needed to be fixed, specifically in the secondary from last year and on the defensive side of the ball. I know that there is someone who's not Cam Ward playing quarterback. But no, there's nothing that I've seen. And it goes both ways. Like if I was maybe 8-4, and then all of a sudden hold on, I think this might be an 11-win team. But no, I had a very strong opinion of the state of this team, the state of the U, as you were. And no, that is my continual viewpoint going forward. Yeah, we'll be doing, our preseason roundtable and everything. Next week is game week. So I know I've been taking some, summer vacation time. I've been popping in and out of editorial, Craig T. Smith, shout out to him. He's doing great stuff every week. You're going to actually hear even more from him and myself and Justin DeTavio this year on a weekly basis, which is really, really cool. But yeah, no, we're ramping that up going into next week. So it'll be a full game week's, content presentation. So we're very excited to bring that all to you, including our season look ahead stuff. But no, at least for my part of season look ahead and my view of this team, nothing's changed. It all gas, no brakes. We need to be pushing towards championship football.
It's always good to see Leroy the Black Ninja Turtle, who's given me time to redeem myself. I appreciate the second chance there, buddy. Thank you so much for being here. And that has taught me not to assume who's first in line, first inside the gate to stamp the old super chat. So thank you so much for that, Leroy. We appreciate you.
Yeah, man. So you got to, didn't assume or anything this week, man. You did a great job. Thanks for being here and whatnot, of course. Threw up the L for you. Did get that right. And then we can actually go right to the next comment there. From Leroy, what did y'all think of the battle between, that's supposed to be Cooper and Mallory? So Chaminade and West Boca played a preseason classic. It's two elite running backs. It's exactly what I thought. Both players, ramping up for their senior year. And, I thought in the opener, it looked like oh my God, I had the name and then it went away from me. Running back from South Plantation, went to Arkansas, Mama stole the commitment papers on Alex Collins. Yeah, there it is. Javian Mallory had like a 52-yard run. Well, not a touchdown, but a long run. And just the way that, he's in the 200-pound range, and just his movement on the field looked like Alex Collins. And, because they're about similar builds and everything now. Derek Cooper, 5-star All-American, set it, forget it. Like, he continues to look just like that. Jason Lopez had a couple of touchdowns in that game, looking to, solidify his 4-star status moving forward. So, really, it's great to see high school football back, a couple weeks before, the college game and everything. Shout out to Miami Northwestern, who beat the brakes off of Lakeland 40-3 in their opener. Shout out to Teddy B, who's back in the league as a full backup quarterback all year, suspended and kicked out of his coaching job. And he's going to get in trouble, or they're going to get in trouble for it. He FaceTimed the coach before the game. So he literally, they hold the phone up and like, oh, that's coach on the screen and everything. So like, yeah, I mean, yeah, but to the original point of the question, yeah, I think that, both Cooper and Mallory proved and showed their elite blue chip status on the field. I think, taking a step forward in their performance in their final year of high school is reasonable for players of that caliber, and especially with another year of growth and development and off-season training. So, yeah, both of them look really good. Excited that we have Javian Mallory in this class. Gutted that we don't have Derek Cooper at this time. Maybe something can shake. I know that, people will hop in the comments and say, well, we flipped running backs and players from other places. True, we have, and, I can continue to be hopeful for that. But, yeah, it was a good show for sure with them and pretty much everybody, hitting the field for the first time this year.
So I understand that there might be quite a few outliers to the expected answer I'm expecting to receive, which would be, for the most part, once we hit this time of year, is recruiting, at least in terms of the results. Now, Mario Cristobal is all about recruiting, as is any great head football coach all the time. But in regards to the results that we see in regards to the commits, from the time we hit this portion of the going into the season all the way near the end of the season, pretty much on simmer in regards to any commitments or results that we expect to see. Has anyone charted the number of commits that come into the major schools
probably
to see what that curve looks like?
Yeah, it probably is a parabola. So it starts high and then goes down through the season and picks back up. And I would expect something like that. There are battles still being waged, and fights being fought through the year. But yeah, you're probably going to get more commitments in. Yeah, it's just the way that the recruiting calendar has changed. So yeah, there were more. You would see guys visit on week 10 for homecoming and then commit that Monday previously, in the days gone by. Now, people will take visits. All those things will happen. But it is a little bit simmer on the back burner in terms of like moves. I will say, I think that there are more decommitments that happen during the season than commitments, especially to the Power 4 teams. So, through this time when, Miami has been recruiting, but not necessarily having great momentum, hopefully they are, laying the foundation for flips moving forward. I know that, every recruiting outlet is talking about, okay, well, who's Miami targeting to flip? And it's like, I mean, I'm going to write one of those pieces, probably middle of September, because frankly, Miami's going to need to flip a bunch of dudes to get the kind of class the high school class that we need. Again, portal excluded. Like, we're going to go shopping in the portal every year because everybody does. But yeah, to have the kind of high school recruiting that you need to really be a championship program, there's a lot of work to be done. So yeah, it's going to be all about Yeah, just connecting, communicating, and to your point, proving that you have a championship caliber program on the field on a weekly basis. Because I I know that recruiting is relationship based. I know that the time horizon is more than just one day or one data point. It's easier to sell what you're selling after having beaten Florida, Florida State in the middle of the year, than losing that game and calling that blue chip, texting that blue chip, message, whatever, continue the communication that weekend and next week, be like, hey, it's just like, but you just lost to them, right? And if you are who you say you are or want to be, you shouldn't be losing to Georgia Tech. You shouldn't have, you know what I mean? So you do have to, again, winning is the foundation of everything. You have to give proof positive. And there's another conversation, potentially to be had about the fact that Miami is, to my estimation, an outlier in the fact of these kids want to see the rings before they'll commit here to go get rings. Whereas no one else, the South Florida kids at least, do not hold any other program in that same regard. They can come, you know what I mean? Like, kids go all over the country, and like there are only a handful of teams who have won championships, and I'm fine with that. But you can't tell me that you're going to Ole Miss, right, for championships. Where's that? But like the standard before, conversational entry with Miami is, did y'all win a sixth ring? Have y'all won the ACC 3 years in a row? If you haven't, don't talk to me. It's like, well, so, but again, that's maybe a little bit of a different story.
Well, the other chart I would love to see is something that you just alluded to. Take, let's say, the most underachieving teams in the Power Four each season. The Florida State, classic example, probably the best example in the history of college football.
Mm.
I've been asking this question for a year because I've not researched myself, but I can almost guarantee we've not seen a top 10 preseason team go 2-10. I don't think it's not happened in my lifetime. Nothing close to that.
No.
So anyway, drawing a line between high expectations at the beginning of the season, high rankings versus the teams that disappointed, to see if they had more decommits than the average. And I got to think that over time, that's absolutely the case.
Yeah. But then you also have the thing like, Al Golden's Miami, where, the next year's recruiting class was number one in the country. And then they become seniors and there's a mass exodus of most everybody. So, yeah.
And then I don't expect you to have any kind of list, and it may not even be released now, but we can expect a big weekend of blue chippers showing up at Hard Rock against Notre Dame. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, Miami always has tons of guys on the sidelines guys show up for non-premium games, recruits, that is. And shout out to the recruiting department, because that's part of building relationships. You know what I mean? Like, you send those, you communicate with the coaches, you get the, underclassmen players in there, and like, it's not just, hey, you have an All-American this year. This is why we talk about Bishop Gorman. Why? We've recruited there for a good long time, right? I know Tate Martell was a transfer. I know Bubba Bolden was a transfer, but Brevin Jordan, and now Elijah Lofton, and S.J. Olofatuli, and other guys that we went after and didn't get. Like, we can go there. Our name is good in those halls, in those streets, right? Same thing here. There are some schools that, look, you don't really often have a blue chip player who Miami's going to recruit, but you see a lot of those coaches and a lot of the players from those programs in Hard Rock Stadium anyways. So yeah, there will be tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of, recruits there for, the opener for one, but also like, we got 8 home games this year. Love that for me. Yeah, there will be lots of guys every single week.
Our buddy chiming in here, KBT Rubala.
Yeah,
however you
KB
want to
true
go
baller.
with that. He's correlating 2027 and 2026 and having already received more commits from South Florida for the next class, thinking that they'll get on their tails to try to flip 2026.
Yeah, it's looking not the way that you want it to in terms of commitment. Now, and I'm not saying the guys who are not from here are not Miami caliber and we don't want them. That's not what I'm saying. I believe the national recruiting part of things is going to standard. To KB Trueball's point, there's only Javian Mallory and wait, who's the other one? Ashari Charles from Bennett, or Jordan Campbell, who was at Carroll City, now at the West. If you want to say Venice, that's a little bit far to be calling it South Florida. Yeah, so you have Jordan Campbell from the West and Javian Mallory from West Boca from South Florida. Now, you do have Venice. You do have Darren Coleman from Orlando. You do have Seatbelt Waters from Tampa, Sefner Armwood. There are a couple other, state of Florida guys. So we're going, we're extending the state of Miami in the Howard Schnellenberger, the U Part 1, that great graphic and everything. But from down south, like 305, 954, 561, we got two dudes. That's, So to the point, like Calvin Russell, that's a guy you got to go and try and flip. Derek Cooper, that's a guy you got to go and try and flip. There's others as well in addition. But it would have to be that because, we just can't have a class with that kind of ratio of South Florida guys. I'm not even talking about state of Florida, but when you have, 22 players committed and 2 of them are from the Tri-County area, so 1 out of 11, that's 9.1%. From Broward, Dade, and Palm Beach, you can't have it. You can't have it. You cannot have it. Period. I know, and I know people will probably, also say, well, James Johnson, he goes to Northwestern. That kid is not from here. He just moved there. Fine. But if you want to say he plays here, so he counts. Cool. And he's committed to Georgia. But 9% of your recruiting class from the Tri-County area in down south. No, can't have it. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. So we're going to have to either go get some guys who are uncommitted, which I don't believe that there's lots of blue chippers floating around unless a whole bunch of, recruits have spawned in like it's the college football video game. All of a sudden they just, aliens popped up from gets dropped off from Saturn or something out the middle of nowhere that nobody knows about. Otherwise, you got to go figure it out. And it's largely going to be going and flipping dudes. So,
I was hanging out somewhere in the vicinity of 57th and 40th.
Oh, you were over on the beach.
There. Yeah, I didn't know where I was. I've never traveled that far south, and just met up with a friend and had lunch, and he handed over some equipment for me, helped me out there. So we just hung out for a little while down there.
Wait, okay, cool.
In that range. Range.
I was just like, every city in South Florida restarts their own numbering. So, 57 and 40 could have been Bird down in Coral Gables, but it also could have been over. Oh, that's where it was?
Bird. It was Bird.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, I was just looking at a couple of different things. So, you were down in the Gables. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Dante Turner.
Was. It took me 4 hours to get down and back.
Yeah.
Each way. It was
a nice little drive from where you were.
It's a long state, I tell you that. Because it takes me 2.5 to get out of the state the other way. Miami, it was supposed to be 4:15 to his apartment. I trimmed it by about 20, 25 minutes. And then I was checking out Key West. I just thought, I need to get down to Key West for another 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
Wow.
Pretty much, man. Yeah, I've made the drive from down here up to Michigan a couple of times back in the day when I was working at band camp. And the geographic halfway point is Atlanta, which is so you could basically get 2 states the first day if you do 10 hours of your 20-hour drive and everything. So,
and most people wouldn't guess that.
I didn't think it until I drove. You're like, no, it's not. It's almost to the mile from like Fort Lauderdale, or Miami where I lived, to Atlanta, and then Atlanta to Detroit, because it's Turnpike and then 75 the whole entire way.
Let me ask you this: lining up against Notre Dame, if you had to go through Miami's starting lineup for that night, both sides of the ball, and just say, boom, this is who's starting, how many would you have to consider? We still have a decision to make there.
In terms of, we have a decision to make for Miami of who will be starting that day?
Yes. Not that you don't have the knowledge of knowing who would be the starter, but they may not have decided, or at least let us know if there's any one of the 22 that's in doubt.
6. Like, reasonable battles, I think. I have a preference, and I think that they're leaning in a specific direction, but we'll see. Dante Turner with the great, I was actually just going to get to that one. Comment, seems like historically Northwestern guys, besides the 05 class, have all been hard pulls for us. Even the dude from the year of the Bull committed to UF. Yeah. Yes and no. Yes and no. We've gotten our fair share of dudes from there. But, there have also been guys that, have decided to go elsewhere, including Calvin Russell most recently in this class. So you're not going to get everybody from everywhere. Like, okay, so what I'll say, again, no school is going to get every player from any school always every year, just the way that it works. Pretty much anywhere, right? Except for Louisiana, because they're a small population and everybody wants to go to LSU because LSU decided to stop being racist and actually take black people. Anyways, if you wanted to sub out any other high school here, the response would be the same. It seems like Chaminade guys. Well, we have a bunch of Chaminade guys, but you can point to the couple like Jeremiah Smith, now Derek Cooper, right? You can point to a couple, Jason Lopez, but we decided to go in a different direction. We weren't really pursuing him hard. Why? Because we want Van Spafford from Mission Viejo, who does what Jason Lopez does, but is more athletic and faster. So that's not all things being equal. That's a more athletic, explosive, fast kid. But if you're like, okay, well, Miami should be getting every kid from there, that's not going to happen. Say the same thing about Miami Central, right? You're not going to get every kid from there. You want to say the same thing about St. Thomas Aquinas. And those are schools that Miami recruits very, very well. You can look up and down this roster for many, many years and find many, many dudes from Northwestern, Central, Chaminade, St. Thomas Aquinas, all of the teams that we're talking about, but you're not going to get everybody. So I don't necessarily agree that it's been a hard journey, but there are highs and lows. For example, Central seems like a real pipeline for us. We actually get their 5 stars. Terrell Lewis, the linebacker the year before Wesley Bassane. Miami wanted him, recruited him hard as hell. Didn't come. What are we talking about? You know what I mean? Like, I know that we've gotten guys, but I mean, we've not spited the West to get guys from Central, because we can continue to go back in the history of the program, right? We can look at Alonzo. Wait, was it Alonzo Highsmith? It wasn't Alonzo Highsmith. Melvin Bratton from Miami Northwestern, Willis McGahee from Miami Central, right? Like, I know they weren't in the same class, but like, we can go back in the history of this program, the history of, like the entire history of this program, and look at the different ones. So, I mean, I will agree with you in the point of Miami has had more success recruiting at Miami Central recently than Northwestern. That I will give you. But I don't agree with like the degree that you're saying, if that makes sense. Because I mean, like even guys who like LaWayne McCoy, right? He was the brother of a guy who was committed here, right? As a younger receiver, like the next year out from Miami Central. If it was just firm pipeline, we're taking everybody, we would have took him. We told him, ain't no room in the inn. You got to go find a seat somewhere else. He went to Florida State. And then his brother, or Lawrence Seymour, Big Baby Seymour, then he goes somewhere else. So, like, there's a measure of that. But I feel like you're overstating it slightly. That's what I feel. Oh, good question. Uncle Derek. First time I've seen your name. Appreciate you being in the chat. Who's the fastest player on the team? We got some contenders, man. I know Malachi Toney is up there. Keelan Marion is up there in terms of speed. Xavier Lucas is incredibly fast. Let's not forget about Ray Joseph, like noted and known for his speed. Pringle, Lyle, like maybe another receiver. That would be a really interesting. I would sign up. I would love it. I would watch the hell out of University of Miami Productions' fastest man video. Like, get the 8 or 10 dudes on the squad. It's like, I think I'm the fastest dude on the squad, coach. Line them up just like they used to do at the Pro Bowl, Hey, and we can have 2 heats of 5. Top two finishers, and then, Chris Wheatley Humphrey. There's a lot of speed on this team. But I would think one of those dudes. But I don't think, off the top of my head, I don't feel that there is a Travis Benjamin on this team. Like, it's him. Don't talk to me about anybody else. He's that guy. I don't feel that there's one of those. But yeah, I do feel that we could have a nice little track team and a lot of dudes who, won state championships on the track in high school. It would be even faster if Chris Johnson Jr. was still here, but hey, he's not, so whatever. But yeah, I think that we have good talent. So I would say one of those 10 dudes, line them up, 2 heats of 5, the, 2 in a wild card. Yeah, the top 2 from each one, and then the fastest non-top 2 finisher. That's your final set of 5. Oh, Bryce Fitzgerald. That's a sneaky pick. I don't think that he's in that top group, but like he's another dude with like that embedded kind of a speed. So yeah, good question.
Typically catch us on Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Appreciate you being flexible this week for the Thursday show. If you're just joining us, obviously rewind, catch what you missed. Watch the rest of the show live with us, but then rewind and catch what you missed as we addressed a number of recruiting issues and other things. We see that Notre Dame's named starting quarterback in CJ Carr.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people disagree with that. I listened to some of the Cover 3 podcasts, and they thought that this had to do with NIL and him being the hotshot recruit, that he was outplayed by Kevin Minchie during fall camp. But I don't know. That's their decision to make.
Before I get to that, Mr. Wiley Sr., good to see you here in the chat again. Excited to see you down at the game. Saw the picture of KJ, Kellen Jr., on the field in practice flexing after a PBU or a big hit or something. Hey, his body is developed. Like he looks like an upperclassman. So yeah, very excited for that. In terms of CJ, that was literally what I was going to bring up next. In terms of CJ Carr, Lloyd Carr's grandson, so somebody that I've known of since like 5 ever, and everything. I, first of all, am happy that Notre Dame made their choice and publicized the choice for the quarterback, because now we can focus on preparing for him. I also, my early immediate thought and feeling and I share this with a lot of people in like multiple group chats. He is like mobile in the pocket mobile, whereas Minchie is like hurt you with his legs mobile. And those really dual threat quarterbacks who can, break the line and get vertical have been a thorn in Miami's side for many a year. So having him on the bench and having the less mobile, but still he can move. Like, I'm not saying he's a statue, but kind of the average athlete as opposed to the dynamic runner or the player with dynamic running potential being the quarterback. I really think that is a big win for Miami. Obviously Jeremiah Love is one of the best players in America. I know that his backup, I don't know his name, doesn't really matter, but I know that he's almost 1,000-yard rusher and is also very, very, I should probably learn his name, because he's kind of that really good. So they're going to lean on that. I know that they have Jaden Greathouse, whose name I can't forget because his name is Greathouse. You know what I mean? In the past.
Jadarian Price, by the way.
Jadarian Price, the backup running back. So I say all that to say they're going to lean on those guys, Price and Love, to run the ball and not really integrate the quarterback with Carr at quarterback in a way that is different than if Minchie would have been a quarterback. Now you have to really add him to the calculus of QB being live in the run game in a way that CJ Carr I don't believe is going to be. So and I did hear the same thing from the Cover 3 guys, if they are correct in Notre Dame picking the inferior player, or that just plays into Miami's hands, that's great for me. I think Laura 84, thank you for the super chat. Carr actually had more rushing yards in high school than Minchie. Misconception is Minchie is more mobile. I've watched the film on both. While I will take this as, a great piece of conversation, I do not foresee the running game being as big a part of CJ Carr's offering at the collegiate level as it was in high school. And hold on, let me just look this up so that I'm sure. Yeah, he played at Saline, Saline in Michigan. Like, that's not. It's a decent division team, but like, you're going to have the ability to run if you are a blue chip quarterback, right? And something's not open, and you're playing at Saline against the teams that you're playing in that area of the state, just kind of outside Lansing, you're going to be able to go run, right? So I hear you on that. I don't know if it would have been the same if he were somewhere else, and I definitely do not expect that to continue moving forward. But this is a good point. And like I said, I do believe that Carr has mobility. I just don't think it is pull it and run for 20, which is what I view Minchie's athleticism to be able to deliver. So again, I don't think that he's a statue. This even adds to that and everything. But my personal view is, I don't think he will run as much or as effectively as a college quarterback as he did against admittedly middling kind of opposition in high school.
Yeah, that scouting report is consistent with what I've heard. We've seen Minchie. Well, we've seen both players obviously in spring practice, but Minchie came in during the semifinal playoff game against Penn State and led a scoring drive. I don't remember field goal or touchdown, and hit on like 7 of 8 passes. No. My bad. I'll check myself. That was Steve Angeli, who transferred to Syracuse. That was their backup quarterback last year. So that was not Minchie, who was the third stringer last year.
Also, as well, in addition, just to hit some numbers, as a senior in high school, CJ Carr ran the ball 59 times for 91 yards and 9 touchdowns. I know that includes sacks, but 221 yards and 7 touchdowns as a junior. It's. I think that is reasonable. Let me see. And for Minchie, 137 yards and 3 touchdowns as a junior. 106 yards as a sophomore, and I didn't see stats for CJ Carr's sophomore rushing. So now that we put some numbers to it, it's slightly more for CJ Carr. You know what I mean? It's not like he was running for 600 and 700 yards a year and Minchie was running for 22. Like, it was pretty comparable. So, like, again, and like that's on the 247 sports page, which is pulled from Max Preps. I could go to the Max Preps page also. So I looked it up live and everything. So I hear what you're saying and whatnot, but like positioning it to like, oh, he had more yards, in the tacitly unsaid part is like, so he did like it was barely more. Like, it was more, but comparable, within 100 yards maybe. So like, what are we talking about? So yeah, I think that, you know, that can be advantageous for those reasons for Miami. But even with that being said, Notre Dame is a loaded team, and they are going to be prepared. But you know, I know that they're making the trek south, and the same thing that I said last year about Florida and their schedule. Whenever I said, well, they have the hardest schedule in this country, and it's da-da-da-da, I said they got to see us to start. Same thing with Notre Dame. Like, you know, hey, they got to come and see us. So, like, I know that they're going to try to come down here and everything. Y'all remember 2017. I'm not saying it's going to be that, but, you know, it just, much in the similar way to how people have been denigrating Carson Beck all offseason, it feels like people are kind of making it a foregone conclusion that Notre Dame's going to win. And I would like to recenter my alma mater, the University of Miami Hurricanes, into the conversation, because we had a damn good team.
As you can see on the screen, we've got a call-in show coming up next. Now, that's not with Cam and myself. Our Monday guys are getting together directly after this show. So 2 p.m. Eastern time, they crank it up and take your calls on Miami football. So there you go. You got a bit of a doubleheader that I did not anticipate. Let's look up the point spread on this baby. We've got the current line that I'm seeing, and I'm looking at 8 different sports books. Whoa. That can't be.
I'm on Vegas Insider right now. Notre Dame minus 2.5.
Okay.
That's Bet365. That's Caesars. That's DraftKings. That's ESPN Bet, FanDuel, Bally's, Caesars. If I didn't, yeah, that's all of them, pretty much. So the juice on either side of the line differs, but pretty consensus Notre Dame minus 2.5.
Okay. I pulled up a basketball line. That's what they gave.
It was fun. I was actually
point spread. Seriously, that's what I get.
That's funny. Yeah, I was actually just on
7.5.
website.
I was like, "There's no way they're a 7.5 point favorite."
No. Mm-mm. Yeah, so I mean, I think, you know, it sets up to be a good game, a tight game. Again, you know, timely plays and turnovers likely to decide the outcome, and just which team settles in. I know, you know, last year in the opener, Miami settled in on the first drive, walked down the field, scored a touchdown on a Cam Ward touchdown pass to Cam McCormick. Oh, sorry, Cam McDonald. No, McCormick. I was right. Excuse me. And then, you know, off to the races we were. We will see. Uncle Derek is more decisive in his view. Says Miami wins by 20. I'm with it.
I'm definitely 19. With it. Derek, if you want to look me up, I'll take 19 points. I don't know who's going to win this game. Nobody knows who's going to win this game. That's pretty obvious statement, but I will make a prediction on the game. But I would definitely, despite who I pick to win the game, I would take either side at 19 points, obviously.
Yeah. Kelly Wiley, senior, says defense will force at least 3 turnovers on August 31st. If that comes true, in a vacuum, right now, today, August 21st, say, Cam, Miami's defense forces 3 turnovers, and the outcome of the game happens. Will you take that? Sign me up. Sign me up. If we get 3 turnovers, I feel very, very confident. So yeah, if we're able to make that happen, that'd be great. That's actually been the kind of the focus of a lot of the conversation surrounding the defense right now, because there was a lack of turnovers created last year. So people asked Heatherman in availability, and players are talking about it, about Heatherman saying we got to be obsessed with the football, which you have to be, like the actual physical ball. That's the thing that other coordinators have said. Manny Diaz said the literal exact same thing back in the turnover chain days. Like, we have to be obsessed with the football, because you do, because the football is the game. So yeah, I am excited to see what this defense can do. And if what they do is, their assignment, tackle and force and create and obtain turnovers like that, yeah, I would feel very, very good in a strong way. So I'm hopeful that comes to fruition.
Yeah, that's one thing that has not changed in football: the turnover margin and its relevance to winning and losing. Those percentages have not budged much through the years.
Yeah, it's like it seems almost a direct correlation, corollary kind of relationship of, like, you get turnovers on defense and then you're going to go win games. So yeah.
All right, folks.
KB True Bala, discipline and speed seem to focus, and a lot of talk. That's impressive. A change from last year to this year already. The other thing that I would, excuse me, I would substitute speed for communication. Have been the focuses. Being disciplined, alignment, assignment, technique, like do your job. And if you communicate, then that allows the players to play fast and not be in the evaluative process of, like, let me see it, let me think about it before I go do it. Like, no, I've diagnosed pre-snap. This move, guy moves here, I go and do those kind of things. Yeah, there's been a look at the speed as well. I would put that I would put that down at number 3. I think this is a great thought, and everything. So yeah, these are the things that we have focused on. The team is focused on very, very strongly, and I'm excited to see that hit the field. Anyways, sorry. Yeah, I'm excited to see that hit the field. So yeah, and just guys reworking their bodies. Even the early enrollees, like I was talking about, Kellen Wiley Jr., like his body looks different. Like Hayden Lowe, third Scroggins. These guys on the defensive side and on the offensive side of the ball as well. Like, Malachi Toney. Like, I know that he's only 5'10", but like his body has been reshaped. The body recomposition project worked. Look at Josh Moore. Look at all these dudes. Like Ruben Bain, even the returning guys really just were getting their body where it really needs to be for them to do their job in the optimal kind of a way. So yeah, that discipline. I mean, that's proof positive of that discipline. And everything, yeah, and really, yeah, just communicating on both sides of the ball and allowing them to play faster. So, yeah, really excited. And again, I will give credit to Mario Cristobal that he has built a team where having championship caliber aspirations is reasonable, right? Now, I'm not saying that's national championship. Like, I'm not sitting here saying today we're going to win a national championship. Here's my full expectation that Miami competes for, if not wins the ACC, and competes in the college football playoff. Those expectations heading in are not things that we would have had 3 years ago. So building this organization in that way, the program, to get there is a great job. And I wrote it before last year, and it was the same thing I said about the Detroit Lions. It is time that we lean into expectations, right? We are not just hoping to go 7-5. The expectations are higher because of what we have done on the field and off the field with this, the program over the last couple of years. And shout out to Mario Cristobal for being the steadying force, looking at the North Star to continue to push this forward for those years. Mr. Wiley said, obviously his son in the linebacker room, talking to Popo Aguirre, says Popo Aguirre, says this team feels generational. I understand it. They need to go do it. And I will say, in when I was in college at the University of Miami, I was a music major, like y'all know. The 2002-2003 University of Miami chorale, the top mixed vocal group in the School of Music for classical vocals, was the best choir I'll ever be in my entire life. And I felt it from the first note of the first day. Before school, we went to Coral Gables Congregational Church where Dr. Scheibe was the director, and we had an all-day, rehearsal kind of a thing. And from the first note of the first warm-up of the first day, like I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. Like you could just tell. It was like, this is on a level that we had never experienced. It was truly generational, and I knew at 21 years old, this is the best group I'll ever be in, and the accomplishments and the performances were beyond compare. The best of my entire life at 21 years old. And I'm saying that to say I knew it from day the first. So if someone were to, and like I had never been to that height, I had never had those incredible levels of performing success. I'd done a lot, but not to that level. So I say that to say, I'm not going to push back on Popo Aguirre saying that or feeling that, because he's played a lot of football, just like I sang a lot of songs, right? He played a lot of games, just like I've been on in a lot of concerts. But if you are in that realm and you say, wait, this got a different vibe than any and everything else that I've ever been a part of. From personal experience, that's real. And you can feel that in a tangible way. Now, just like the 2002-03 chorale at University of Miami, it's incumbent upon this football team to go deliver. So that is an interesting kind of a thought and feeling. And it feels like I can understand, I can see where he's coming from. All of that sounds good. You got to go do it.
So I have no feeling in the matter because I don't have a rooting interest to feel a vibe or have that. So
Right.
so I'm going strictly on what's been presented to us and what we know.
Yeah.
I would say that is more grounded in, and I'm not talking about the feeling, I'm talking about the substance of it, in anticipating a big season for Miami as being, let's say, a playoff team, an ACC championship serious contender. They're in the game, they won the game, or they lost the game, but still made the playoff. The type of season that Cam's describing. That most of that evidence is brand, location, recent recruiting. Yes, it is talent on the team. Absolutely. That's why they're ranked in the top 10 in the preseason poll. It's justified from a talent standpoint. But in terms of what we saw last season, it's kind of on the border. It's kind of on the periphery. It's neither, no, this is a ludicrous statement, nor is it, no, this is, bam, no question about it. This team is a playoff team. To me, it's somewhere on the periphery of those two things. This team,
that's your view of present state.
Yeah. Take away what was selected last year. I would think it would be foolish for anyone to say that was definitely not a playoff team last year, or to say this is a solid, strong, in the middle playoff team last year. Either one. I think they were on the cusp.
Right. No, absolutely. Absolutely on the cusp. But again, I know people are going to, might even push back, but you look at the trajectory, 5 wins, 7 wins, 10, you had all that. Like, it is reasonable then to say onward to Charlotte and the playoff beyond is the expectation. It should be the expectation. And again, the team has to go perform and deliver on that. But I'm not my view of where this program is in general moving into the season is not 8-4, 9-3. The expectation is Charlotte and the playoff. It has to be that. And it's not crazy for other programs and teams. I know that Miami has screwed the pooch and fumbled the ball and got blown out 42-17 after going up 21-0 at Syracuse and blew the season last year. I understand it. I was there. Well, not there. I was watching, but you understand what I mean. So I understand why people say, well, they haven't delivered to it. That doesn't mean that my expectation changes. It just means that the performance needs to change. But yeah, this team needs to go out there and deliver to match or exceed the expectations. But they have raised the bar in terms of what those expectations are. Because 2 years ago, after 5-7, please, I was talking about a bowl game, which is what we got. But that was, beat a rival, beat your rivals, find a way through, get to a bowl. And, I think I was maybe a little bit more hopeful than that, but that's really where it was. Now, no, sky's the limit. Sights are set on the top of the college football world. We have to make that happen.
And I'll differentiate my viewpoint to what I hear most critics, cynics, just general pundits that are trying to be fair, or again, Miami critics or cynics who are basing most of their prove it mentality to the last 20 plus years. I'm not doing that because I don't think it matters what happened in 2008 right now.
Right.
Different program, different team. Yes, you got to carry that. You got to drag that around with you as a Miami supporter, but that has nothing to do with the way that this program, coaching staff, and the players they've recruited and signed should be evaluated.
Heard. I'll wrap up with Charles Johnson winning 10 games for a second consecutive year will be a step in the right direction for me. Yes and no, because if you go 4-0 in non-conference and you go 6-2 in conference and you're stuck at 10-2 watching two other teams in Charlotte again on the first Saturday of December, just like last year, which then would probably mean you don't make it to the playoffs yet again. I don't know that I fully agree. So I get it in a general sense. You do want to make double-digit wins the standard. I get you. But I also would say if we are a team with championship kind of aspirations, whether you're talking about conference, national, either, both, whatever, interstellar champions of the universe, fine, right? But you there's a little bit even more refinement to that, or additional concerns to raise with that, because 10 would be great, but there's a way that 10, just like last year, could be deflating. So hopefully we don't get there, but your point is well made. Okay, 10 wins back-to-back years, that now becomes the floor, that now becomes the standard moving forward. Look, it's what Marcus Freeman's done at Notre Dame, right? So that's really what has been, even though I know that they had good success before that with that terrible, horrible, person who coached them previously. But same kind of thing. So setting that with performance to be the floor is a good thing. But there's just other nuances to consider also as well. So I could see 10 being dissatisfying, but also acknowledging, 10 wins consecutive years and making that the floor of expectation moving forward would be good. It would. Cool.
Right, folks, appreciate you being here. Hang right here. You can talk Miami football with our Monday guys. They will chime in with taking your calls. In the meantime, of course, State of the U.
Yep. Tons of stuff over there for you for the low price of free. Please come on over and fan with us. Got stuff great going into, the wrapping up the off season. Going to just finish that up. And then game week starts on Monday. So we will have our full suite of coverage and content and more for you over stateoftheu.com. Please come fan with us at Underwood Sports on Twitter. RJ Graves Canes is this D better than 2017? They're going to need to show a whole lot to have that be true. So right now I say no, and we will revisit after the season like we always do. But I can't say that this team going in is like that. So appreciate the comment and question, and that's going to do it for me, guys.